All right. So a brief CodeWeavers update, maybe with an Android demo, and then lunch. Right?
Okay.
All right. I should turn that off because I don't need it. So brief CodeWeavers update. This has been an interesting year for us. We kind of had a lot of ups and downs. We spent the year really trying to get the Android stuff to do something to make us money, frankly. And we had a really hard push in the beginning of the year with some Chinese opportunities that really didn't work out well and were kind of disappointing. So we sort of hit the summer and we're pretty disappointed. Then Google made this lovely announcement that Chromebooks were going to run Android, which was a nice, invigorating set of second wind for us. So we've had a better fall than we had. Sort of the first part of the year was pretty tough, but the last few months have been a lot more promising. Broadly, we're still seeing the same trends that I reported last year, which is our consumer market, consumer use of crossover continues to kind of go down. You look at our sales charts and stuff, it's not the picture you want. The good news is our OEM business, where report software, continues to go up. So that's very encouraging. In fact, it's hard to articulate, but I just did a check of the number of branches we have for OEMs, and we have over 100 branches of OEMs. So we have over 100 people who we actively maintain ports for, which is kind of exciting. So that's been a nice, and what's exciting about that is that was actually my original business model 20 years ago. So it's finally starting to work. It's been, the finances have been a little bit challenging. We have a third arm where we do just general consulting work, which isn't really wine related. That's been kind of holding us together a bit. We do have, so we're worried about that drop, right? That kind of causes us some real panic and some real thought that, well, gee, maybe wine is not our long-term, we need to write Animal Fight Simulator or something else. We have had recently a couple of pretty exciting opportunities come our way. We've got a couple of things in the pipeline which I cannot talk about that could work out really well. This happens to us periodically. Every couple of years we get some big opportunity and we get all excited and then it doesn't work out. But we have two at the same time. It's exciting.
So you take more the people of wine then?
No, actually, we have two really good wine opportunities. So we're pretty excited about. These are both.
So what happens now is both of them occur at the same exact time, and now you don't have the resources to accomplish both.
Hush. well, or we worry about that, and then we get none, right? So yeah. That is one of our fears, obviously. But that's I'll take that problem, right? We haven't really been faced with that problem broadly for a very long time. Other than that, I think CodeWeavers just turned 20 this year. So it's officially, so next year it gets to drink. So that was kind of a big milestone and kind of startling because I would have never, this is at least 10 years longer than I would have anticipated. So and we're sort of, it's having a midlife crisis. Do you get to have a midlife crisis at age 20? I don't know. But sort of figuring out what's next. But hopefully the next 3 or 4 months will, I didn't prepare any remarks, I'm just winging it. Any questions, anything else about how things are doing? We just rearranged our office. You guys get to see it tonight. That'll be exciting.
On the crossover office, is the same trend like Linux falling stronger down than Mac? Or?
Yes. Yeah. In fact, our percentage of Linux sales as a percentage of our total consumer sales it's 10%. So we're getting a tiny amount of income from Linux consumer customers. We've got a couple of
consumer, but you have then deals with.
We have a few larger customers who pay us real money to support Linux for them, but really only a handful, not a large. And our porting business is all Mac. Is that right? I mean, it's a couple exceptions.
There are some exceptions, and we're actually slowly hearing a little bit more on the Linux side. That's mostly people trying to get rid of, embedded systems or getting rid of XP or CE.
Right. Yeah. So our Linux. For a long time, it was the Linux consumer who supported us and kept us alive. And today, the Linux consumer, they all use wine. right? It works.
It's got good enough, yeah.
It's good enough, right? And it's
Sure.
so, damn it, yeah, curse you. You know? But it's our bed, right?
Well, how close are you to having crossover in the Android App Store?
It's actually in the Play Store as a beta, is it?
As a preview, what do we call it? We had big
technology preview. I think.
yeah, we had big debates over the wording of alpha thing you don't really want to try. The marketing department didn't approve that. So yeah, it's having it. There's some hard work we're doing the way the preview works right now is not the way we want it to work. So we're hoping to fix that and then go to the Android store with something a lot more compelling. The disappointment there was that, I don't know if you saw or not, but Intel got out of the tablet and phone business. So they no longer are in that market, and they basically failed in that market. So the problem with our Android product is it's only compelling if you have an Intel processor inside. You throw the ARM stuff in, and I know Andre's worked on it a lot, the performance just becomes so, and there are people who claim to have ways of mitigating that, and there's some demos that look impressive, but every time we've looked at it, it just isn't, it's just not feasible. That, and the truth is, like, having Microsoft Office on your phone is cool, but nobody wants it.
You can have it anyway.
Sure. What you don't want the desktop version of Microsoft Office on your phone. You want one written for mobile.
Yeah, there is one.
Right. The market was not as compelling there. But the Chromebooks, on the other hand, and the ability to run an Android app on a Chromebook, that we think is somewhat compelling. Were we going to do that demo now? Was that the? Sorry, I shouldn't stop. Any other questions? Any other?
Congratulations on passing the 20-year mark.
Never would have predicted.
So you'll survive for the next year to pay the bill the next year.
That's right.
Good.
How do you survive? Are you independently wealthy?
No.
So when we fly to space.
We do. So, I mean, what I would say is we don't make, none of us are particularly wealthy. Like, none of us, so a lot of us work for less than money we could get somewhere else. But there's a love of what we do. But we do make enough money. Like, both of my kids are going to an expensive college. So, so we make enough money, right? But we are getting financial aid too. So we don't make that much money.
Yeah.
And we kind of have our ups and downs, and we'll get a big contract with someone, and then we'll be really rolling in the money and really loving life, and then that'll fall away, and we'll have a couple of years where we're scrounging and a little more starving, and then we were sort of in the starvation mode in August, and right now we're getting ready to we're hoping we'll feel a little bit better.
When you can buy your servers.
We can buy new servers, right? We can buy fancy whiteboards. I mean, look, see, I tell ya.
New strikes.
Yeah, big spender. That was full $900 I blew on that. So, sorry, did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
In terms of like OEMs, I guess, plus wine work, did you ever think or talk to OEMs about putting up a list? Hey, we contributed this thing to wine because this company contracted us to port their stuff wherever?
No, and we probably should do a better job with that. That's actually something for Jana. But Jana's our marketing
Yeah,
person.
but some customers don't want to.
Most of our customers just don't care,
Oh, okay.
right? Like, so they wouldn't mind,
Okay.
I think is the point. So we could celebrate their contribution, and
Some
I don't
of them
think they
would.
would mind.
Yeah, the soon the company becomes bigger, it's like complicated because it's a different department that has to deal with. Like I could be customer of somebody else, and there has to be a reference customer. So it's like you got to talk to brand marketing, something like that.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know that we haven't formalized it. We mean to formalize it and write in our contract that you give us permission to do this marketing. We tend to do it on a more informal basis, and I'm not even sure if we've dotted all of our I's on that one. But if you look, like we have a long list of customers who we've ported their software. So But yeah, we don't celebrate it like their contribution to wine. Haven't really. I don't know.
Like my impression from talking to people elsewhere, mostly the Mentor Summit, people know people know wine. Some people know CodeWeavers. Some people think CodeWeavers is an evil take on wine. Very few people actually know about the amounts of contribution CodeWeavers does to wine. And it seems like this is a place where you could improve.
GitLog, and you see a lot of
Yeah, but nobody does GitLog.
Is that really true? I wonder if it's just the people, you notice it, you hear the ones where they say the tick. The most
Probably
people-
it might be like a random selection of people I run into. Also, the other question is, can you buy anything from having fame and glory as a big wine contributor? Maybe, maybe not, but it seems to me like something that could be improved.
Yeah, but then to be frank, CodeWeavers already overshadows wine too much. Like it's a point of stress to us. I mean, look at this. We went around the room, you know, and we would like a larger and more vibrant wine community, right? And so we don't want to be. I don't know. I don't know how to say this, but like we don't want to make it sound like we're.
Yeah, that was one point of the contention, like with wine staging last year, that it was like CodeWeavers is evil or not, and
Right.
like misconception out there. So it's like, yeah.
Well, we are evil, and they figured it out. So.
No, you were evil, but
Yeah. I'm evil.
the rest of the people are actually okay.
I don't know. You probably have a valid point, and I think something we need to do is a better job of helping Jana learn how to do marketing around a free software project. You know, doing it in a way that's thoughtful and that promotes other people's engagements and celebrates other people's contributions, but yet at the same time dispels any misconceptions people may have. I don't know.
Just cultivate the idea that CodeWeavers and wine are complementary to each other and working as a team.
Right. Well, it is. I do have to admit, I will get defensive and frustrated when people will come to me and say, you know, something like, well, you know, the wine project or the wine guys, you know, those other people. I'm like, wait, no, we are the wine guys. It's not. There's not them and us. It's just us.
Well, and I don't think that a lot of people realize that a lot of the really frustrating little things that are hard to get fixed are the things that you guys are working on. Because, I mean, who's going to spend the time to go through and do some of those things if they're not being paid to do it?
Right.
Me.
Those of us in this room.
Yeah. Well, but and even with that, thank you for that. I do think we do sometimes do a lot of the heavy lifting, and I think it's sometimes not celebrated. Or we do the really annoying work. Well, like Office 2013 activation, that had to have been annoying as hell. But we needed it, right?
I see that like a perception all the time. I mean, I'm seeing some of the same things and stuff with regard to CodeWeavers.
Really.
Right, we try to dispel it, whenever possible.
Well, I think part of the problem may be some of the news outlets don't report you in a very favorable light.
I'd be curious to see what you're referring to.
We used to have that problem with Slashdot, but I don't know if Slashdot even cares to report about us anymore.
Well, wine gets slammed, right? I don't know that CodeWeavers in particular gets slammed, or I haven't seen evidence of it in media, at any rate.
I haven't seen CodeWeavers in the media lately at all.
Yeah.
I
Like-
guess I'm kind of thinking of wine in general, but
Wine
I was
get-
really surprised by an article the other day where the Gaming on Linux guy said, "Oh, I really enjoyed using wine to run this old game," and I'm, even though I report bashing it all the time. It's
Right.
Actually, that depends because like we have like ICD and they have like CD is a very good, well, compared to the rest, it's a very good computer magazine in Germany, and they report about wine and it's normally neutral. There was like I think 1 year ago, so there was audio control like computer like a pedal for what those guys, I don't know, I'm not into music, sitting on the floor, and it was an embedded, basically it was a Linux head and was using wine, embedded wine on that. It was a hardware piece of hardware with embedded wine on it.
Yeah.
It was reported, it was saying like wine, it wasn't like, oh, it uses wine, it was just neutral. Yeah.
Right.
Especially for the VST, so the audio community is using wine quite usually for their VSTs and plugins and whatnot they have.
Maybe we need a comprehensive laundry list of items just like that to tell people about. Things accumulate a list.
Right.
I've done a list of those for like the presentation I did of Linux talk, but yeah, I looked just this week at Zero Wine. They didn't have a patch since 3 years now. So Zero Wine is basically wine VM to for how do you call it, for security research on the malware, where they just take snapshot of the image of the memory for those self-encrypted whatever stuff. So, but they didn't have anything released in the last 3 years. So I don't know. There's stuff like that that use wine, but you never hear about it because that special communities like in the Unix industry, it's a lot of GST plugins and stuff like that. That's pretty popular.
Right.
And there are some music companies that give you detail how to use wine for their product. There's probably that reach out or whatever, we have like more marketing or stuff like that, probably more interested.
Yeah, I mean, I think in some ways, I'm just thinking about the tick on wine report. I wonder if part of it is that there is really only, if you're looking for someone to blame, right? If you're mad about wine and you're looking for someone to blame, I mean, Alexander's the obvious candidate, but you know, if you want to blame an evil corporate entity, right, we're sort of it, right? Like we're the only evil corporate entity associated with it, so we're the only option.
Advanced game is gone.
Right, yeah, exactly. Like, so if you need a narrative where there's an evil corporate entity, we're the only game in town. So, I don't know.
But there's also Elcom Software. What's the company in Russia that does it? Uses wine.
Idrosoft was using it. There's a new company out of Russia that's doing some interesting things with wine, and their name escapes me. They're doing some interesting things with wine and ARM, actually.
Wow.
LTech, is that? Yeah. They're yeah. But I don't think they're contributing to the wine project in any way. They're looking to make money. Because they're a proper company.
Can you look that up for me?
I mean, but
Okay, Ken, your laughter hurt. That really hurt.
came out of your mouth.
No, I know.
But yeah, but being GPL, if they distributed it, would still need to.
Sure. They have interesting technology on top of it. The wine is just, you know.
We may, on our own forum and in Bugzilla, be unintentionally giving a negative impression of crossover in the sense that it's not supported. Somebody shows up on the forum, says, I used crossover, and the immediate response is, well, that's not supported here, it's a third-party app, you have to go elsewhere. And we don't intend to make it sound bad, but it may actually feed that impression somewhat. That you know.
You can say if you're supported, you're paid for it, go back then.
That's what I tend to suspect, that the people who show up on the forum haven't actually paid for it. So I cheerfully tell them that their fine support is part of the cost you paid. But I think it may give that impression because it's the same way we respond to play on Linux users.
Right. Well, right, and so one frustration is if you look at the market, the Linux market, Play on Linux has, you know, that's if you're using a third-party product to run wine, Play on Linux is what you're most likely going to be using.
Well, for that I could say, wine users don't want to pay.
Right.
So
Linux users don't want to pay.
Nobody
wine
wants
Linux
to pay.
Well, but Mac users I think are more willing to pay than Linux users.
Money. I mean, they pay for a Mac after all.
I know we digressing, but Play on Linux, did we want to be more friendly to them or integrated? They wanted to port their stuff more on staging or stuff like that?
Shoot, I meant to try to have someone from Play on Linux here, and I failed to invite them, yeah. They don't seem to be bad human beings, the Play on Linux people, right? They don't contribute anything to wine, but I think they're doing, like, they're not, there's no ill intention there, I think. And I don't think they're rolling in money, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not sure.
You're not.
They're not developers.
No.
I mean, Play on Linux has, even on their website, a place where ordinary users who mess around and figure out, I need this native DL and this native DL, and it'll put it into a script for them. and then they'll throw it up as part of Play on Linux and then never update it. And, and I don't think they can contribute. My sense is these people know less than I do.
Yeah. Doesn't make them bad people,
No,
right? It-
but
yeah.
but you know, hitting them on they're not
All
contributing. I
that
don't think
stuff
they
and
can
not install
really.
stuff anymore.
Yeah. All right, I'm.
Cutting
So we're officially at noon, which is when, in theory, our lunch is ready. They said that they would come and, if we emptied this room, that they would lock the door. So if people wanted to leave equipment in here, that's probably safe. And if everybody wants to go, I'll stay behind to make sure the doors get locked. Any other questions, any other comments? And then I think we'll do an Android demo after lunch, maybe. Great, okay. All right, thanks. All right, lunch.